When Sarah lost Speeds, her senior rescue dog, it felt like the world had gone quiet. The house was still full of furniture, music, memories, but it lacked the rhythm she'd grown used to. The sound of tiny paws tapping the floors, the low grunt of a dog settling onto the couch, the little moments you don't realize you'll miss until they're gone. That kind of silence is sharp. It doesn't just settle, it echoes. She wasn't ready for another dog. Not yet. So when a friend reached out just weeks later with a message that read, "Hey, I know someone looking for a new home for their dog," Sarah didn't know how to respond. Her heart was still wrapped around grief. She typed, then deleted, then typed again. Something about the message felt different, though. It wasn't pressure. It was gentle. Just an opening if she was ready to walk through it. Tina was the dog, a small, scruffy mutt with wide brown eyes and ears too big for her head. Her current owner couldn't keep her anymore, and Sarah was asked if she might just meet her. No commitment, just a meeting. But as soon as Tina trotted into the room, something shifted. She wasn't trying to impress anyone. She didn't wag her tail wildly or bark for attention. She just looked up at Sarah with a kind of silent, stubborn hope. And Sarah's heart cracked open. They went home together that evening. And from that moment on, they were inseparable. Sarah didn't expect the bond to form so quickly. After all, grief doesn't punch a clock. But Tina had other plans. She followed Sarah everywhere. If Sarah sat at the piano to write music, Tina would curl up at her feet. If Sarah stood at the stove to make coffee, Tina was already seated like a little sentry beside her. They became each other's shadow, stitching their broken pieces together in quiet, invisible ways. And then one day, Sarah was humming a melody in the hallway, not thinking about much, just letting the notes fill the space. And suddenly, there it was. A sound. Not barking, not howling. Something strange and delightful. Tina was singing. At first, Sarah thought it might be a fluke. But it happened again. And again. The more Sarah sang, the more Tina joined in, warbling her own strange tune like a joyful backup vocalist. It didn't sound like a dog. Some said she sounded like a cat. Others compared it to a duck. But Sarah knew it was the sound of happiness. It was the strangest thing, and also the most beautiful. Because Tina, in all her odd sounds and tiny stumbles, wasn't just mimicking joy. She was living it. Every morning became a ritual. As soon as Sarah's keys jingled, Tina would bolt to the front door, spinning in circles, ready for a car ride. She adored it. Pressing her nose to the window, ears flapping in the wind, body quivering with excitement. Wherever they went, she was at Sarah's side. And when they stayed home, she'd race across the living room like a child on a sugar high, pause halfway, do a dramatic stop and spin, and then sprint in the other direction. Sarah would laugh until her stomach hurt. Tina's antics never got old. Once, while walking near a pasture, a horse wandered too close for Tina's liking. She immediately puffed up and planted herself between Sarah and the horse, barking like she was 10 times her actual size. She was ready to go to war with a creature 10 times her weight, all to protect the person who had given her a second chance. It was reckless. It was ridiculous. It was pure love. Sarah's days became brighter. There were still moments of sadness. Memories of Speeds still lingered. But Tina didn't try to replace those memories. She simply made new ones. It was her way of saying, "I'm not here to fix what's gone. I'm just here to walk beside you now." What made Tina special wasn't just her quirks or her singing, or the way she seemed to understand Sarah's moods before even she did. It was the joy she carried everywhere she went. That kind of joy is contagious. People who met Tina would often say, "I don't know why, but she makes me smile." Strangers in the park stopped to pet her. Kids giggled at her dramatic zoomies, and even Sarah's grumpy neighbor admitted, "That dog's got something about her." And it's true. Tina was more than just a dog. She was proof that love doesn't run out when we lose someone. It expands. It waits quietly for another chance. another heartbeat to connect to, another soft place to land. Sarah often reflects on how close she was to saying no that day her friend messaged her. How easy it would have been to stay in the grief, to let fear win. But sometimes the most healing moments in life begin with something unexpected. A message, a look, a sound that doesn't quite make sense, like a dog singing along to your song. If you've ever lost a pet, you know the ache. But maybe you also know the quiet tug that comes later, the one that whispers, "You have more love to give." If that tug finds you, listen. Rescue animals like Tina aren't broken. They're just waiting for someone to see them. And if this story moved you even just a little, consider supporting your local animal rescue. There are thousands of dogs like Tina, quirky, loyal, full of love, waiting in shelters, in foster homes, or behind fences in markets, hoping for someone like you. Even a small donation can provide food, medical care, or a safe ride to a forever home. Or share this story. You never know who might be looking for a sign. Tina came into Sarah's life when she least expected it. She brought music, laughter, and healing. She doesn't understand what she gave, but that's the beauty of it. She just loves, loudly and honestly. And every time Sarah calls her name, Tina, that little dog comes flying across the room like it's the best day of her life. Because for Tina, every day really is.